Do you suffer from the same frustrations these students did with weak shots off to the right, poor strikes, losing distance with driver? They feel like they were doing everything right, but at the moment of truth, they stand up. They lose their spine angle, they lose their consistency of strike with drivers and irons, and just get very frustrated with their golf swings. I spent years working with players from beginners through to pros who felt like staying down was just physically impossible. They thought it was a lack of flexibility or just bad habits that they were stuck with. But by applying these 3 specific drills we're covering today, every one of these players turned this thrusting towards the ball, this standing up, into their actual secret move to perfect strikes and to staying down through the golf ball. We didn't just fix the floor, we unlocked a massive power source at the same time that added distance to their drives, consistency of strike with their irons. So if you're tired of thinning your irons, losing power with your driver, pay attention, because we're going to fix your golf swing once and for all. First thing we're going to tackle is the right hand bend of the wrist in the backswing and the down. So simply stand to the ball. I've got an 8-iron here, easy club to hit, and I'm just going to take my left hand off. So I've got my right hand only on the club, and it's where my hand would be on the club, so it's down slightly. Just going to hover the club slightly off the ground, and the idea of this move in the backswing is I want to expose the butt end of the club to that ball. So I want the butt end of that club pointing down at that ball as I get back in my backswing where my hand is just above waist height. Now to do this, I am going to have to bend, extend that right wrist, my trail hand wrist, to expose that. If I'm somebody who wants to go a little bit out here, this isn't bent, this is still kind of pointing at me. Now the idea is not only to expose that ball to the butt end of the club, or the butt end of the club to that ball in the backswing, you need to do it in the downswing as well. So once you've passed through that backswing position, on the way down, when your hands get to similar position, I want you to feel like you're exposing, almost going to hit the ball with the butt end of the club on the way down. Now do not think that you have to kind of bring it in here. It's not about pulling your arms across your body. It's about trying to make sure you get a good amount of bend in that right hand wrist on the backswing, and then a good amount of bend on that right hand wrist on the downswing to expose that butt end, which is going to give you great control of club face and arm structure for delivery. And the reason we're doing this is to control the face. It's all about trying to control the face. This movement where golfers try to pull their hips or push their hips forward and then pull their upper body back, it's so often built around the fact that the club face is just working around their body in a very lofted or open to path way. So the club face is coming in where it's pointing too far off to the right. Golfers can feel that as they come in. So what they do is they start thrusting this, pulling this back and up to try and rotate that club back around. They're actually using that stand up that you see, that kind of thrust towards the ball and upper body rearing back, to try and control that club face, to get the rotations on it. Now if we can get the rotations on that club face happening by bending that trail wrist more, what happens now with the wrist set, not only is this going to help with club path, it's also helping with the angle of the face. And if the face is going to be delivered in a stronger form, so a little bit more de-lofted, maybe a little bit more square to close to the path, you do not need the emergency stand-up. The next part, the fact that we can move our body correctly, is what's going to control the club path, because you know the face is looking after itself through that bend in trail wrist. So that clears up the why of the club face, but your body now needs to join in, because that's what we're trying to fix. And this next drill is the secret to creating room for your club to drop into, as well as to try and push that club through on a better path. And one of the main factors for affecting club path is the relationship between your body turns and the club. So basically, if I was to make a little half backswing here, how I turn or tilt my body will affect the angle of that shaft. Now, if I'm making backswings where we have a variations of tilts and turns, so we're not moving along kind of one theme, what happens is the club tends to want to get a little bit all over the place. Now, if the club face is coming from all over the place, so the actual head, this is often again why people might want to start trying to recover downswings, which is where we see that thrust forward and that stand up, where if we can get you rotating around some better angles, getting your shoulder turn to work more around some better and more consistent turns, then the path that this travels on is going to be more consistent. With your right wrist in place, we know the face is sorted, the path is sorted, we are unlocking the key to those consistent strikes. So think about it this way. I am going to use my toes as a reference. So your toes hold the secret to how much turn you should put in with tilts. Meaning if I go up to the top of my backswing with a good amount of tilt in my shoulders, so from my perspective, this shoulder's pointing down somewhere towards the ball. It's actually kind of pointing about 1 meter out in front of the golf ball is where it actually is pointing, so from the camera. But obviously my perspective looking down is slightly different. If I get up into a good position top of my backswing, I basically have started covering my toes. So as I go back, this shoulder just scooches along the ends of my toes of my shoes, and then it kind of catches up with the toes on this shoe to end up covering it up. To give a contrast feeling, if I was to make a backswing where I start having quite a level shoulder turn, I can't see my shoes. Up here, I can only just see the ball over my shoulder. I can't see my shoes. And then vice versa, if I was someone, this is rare, who tilts too much, I basically can see my knees and ankles over my shoulder. So your shoes, your toes, unlock the secret for you to get some better turns on that backswing and some better tilts, which is going to encourage these more pro-like impacts and get rid of the temptation to have to recover impacts with the thrust. Lead shoulder to my left shoulder, let it run along your toes. So I'm literally just, I'm not even watching the ball on this practice swing. Goes, just covers my toe, just covers my toes, cover up that foot. And you can see now we're getting into some pretty good tour-like professional style looking backswing positions. Now the reason this is so important is because it is going to set up the theme for everything you do thereafter. It's going to set up the theme for club paths and club angles, as well as how much recoveries you need to make. So the more simple we can make that backswing, the more simple we can start making that downswing. Think of it this way. If I take this band and I start spinning it on any angle, if I was to put a golf ball kind of down here, it would just hit it relatively straight. We could all see that's going to hit that golf ball quite straight. If I start spinning it like at that shoulder angle, so kind of here, if I put a golf ball down there, subject to what part of the spin I hit it at, if it's the bottom part, it's going to hit that out quite straight. Now if I was to spin this band but try and change the angle, it just does not work. And that's what lots of golfers are doing in their backswing. They put some tilts, they then stand up, they then want to drop down, standing that club up. They know they can't hit the ball like that, so they don't want to crash into the ground. And that's why we see the thrusts. Getting the idea of these shoulders moving this way is going to unlock the secret to those pure strikes, as well as the answer to your more consistent downswing. Because drill 3 is a replica of drill 2, where you're getting your shoulders to track the line of your toes from your perspective. On the downswing, you're going to do the same. You're going to try and get right shoulder to track the line of your toes on the way through as well. So as that club comes down and then just starts to go past the ball, it's basically covering up. I can just see the tip of my toes, and then I can just see the tip of my toes. What we do see from so many amateurs is these swings where they kind of really rear up this way. So as this goes forward and they rotate, and there's no way from here, as I rotate through, I can see anywhere near my feet. Remember, we want the theme of that golf swing to have those similar kind of rotations. We want that rotation on the way through. A common pattern we see from the better players on the way through is they have this better tilt, the same as the way back. So where you use your shoulders to track your toes on the way back, you're also going to use your trail shoulder, so my right shoulder, to just try and track those toes on the way through. So I'm literally covering that toe up just past here, and then on the way through covering that toe up as well. And what you're going to find is this is going to get you pushing that ball out towards target with the good use of the trail wrist, so the right wrist, and exposing that butt end of that club. We've now got the 3 movements you need to just perfect club path and control of the club face. Now I hear you, don't worry, I know this sounds like 3 big movements, it's loads to think about. I can't think about that much, you say, in your golf swing, but you can. It's basically 2 thoughts, and one of them is directional. And what I mean by directional is it's as simple as trying to just literally throw the club kind of somewhere out towards a target, like you would if you were just going to throw the ball. You might not think about the direction your arm is going, but it's going to move on a direction if you want to throw it in a direction. So what you're going to do for this simple drill to piece this together, it's a little half swing idea, and it's the lead foot cover. So left foot cover is the drill. So one thought's going to be on trying to bend right wrist and expose the butt end of that club, and then trying to keep that bend in there for a little bit to then hit. The next thought is as simple as you're going to try and cover left foot with your left shoulder on the way back. So I'm just going to make a little half swing, left foot cover, and then on the way through, right shoulder covers left foot. So I'm basically covering left foot, and what this is going to do is give you the directional. So feel how this is giving you the club path, the way you're turning, the way you're twisting and tilting. And that bend in your right wrist is what's controlling that club face. The more you got control of that club face, you're just going to cover that left foot with left shoulder, right shoulder on the way through. It's a great way of feeling those tilts, and all you then do is build that into that bigger swing. Can you use it with driver and iron? I've mentioned you can use it with both, but I've actually made this video here to show you how to really dial that club path in to make sure all this is working, and you've got a little visual cue with your club path as well. Watch that one if you want to find out how to really perfect it with your driver.